Hello everyone. In today's video, we will see about the basics of atoms, the subatomic particles which make up the atoms, what charges they carry. So let's first of all see what is an atom. So we can say atom is the smallest particle of matter which may or may not exist independently. So there are atoms in the periodic table and the nature which may exist independently, and what are those elements? Actually, the noble gases, they exist independently, because in the noble gases we have atoms which have their outermost shell completely filled, so they can exist as atoms, while uh, other elements, like we got oxygen, it exists as O2. It means the two atoms, they have combined together. Similarly, we have nitrogen exist as N2, in which two atoms have combined together. uh, so they cannot exist independently, because their outermost shell, they are not full. Now atom is made up of three fundamental particles, and they are known as subatomic particles. Subatomic particles include the protons, the electrons, and neutrons. If you look at their relative charges and relative masses, protons, they have a relative charge of +1. Electrons, they are -1, and neutrons, they are neutral, or you can say they have no charge or zero charge. As far as the relative masses are concerned, the protons, they have a mass of 1. Electrons, they are very light particles they are, and their relative mass is 1 over 1836 times that of the protons. That means they're very, very light particles. We can say 1 over 1836 electrons, they are equal to the mass of one proton, while neutron also has a mass of 1. Remember, these are relative masses and relative charges. Their actual mass and actual charges are definitely different. So atom is made up of two regions. The one is the nucleus, and the others, that is an empty space in which you see electrons are present, and these electrons, they are moving in shells. Okay, so nucleus, it contains two particles, that is proton and neutron, while in the shells there are electrons revolving around the nucleus. Protons and neutrons, they are heavier particles, and electrons, you see, they are very light particles. So we can say the whole mass of the atom is concentrated in the nucleus, while shells or electrons, they have almost no mass. Every element in the periodic table have got its own unique proton number. Proton number is the identity of an atom. No two atoms in the periodic table can have the same proton number. So each element has its own unique proton number. For example, we have carbon has a proton number of 6. No other element in the periodic table can have a proton number of 6. Similarly, we have oxygen, proton number 8. We got sodium, it has proton number of 11, so and so forth. So we have arranged the elements in the periodic table in increasing order of their proton number. Proton number is a very important number. We can identify elements on the basis of their proton number. So any element, if say it is X element and it has a proton number of 20, it means that this element is the calcium, whose proton number is 20. The particles in the nucleus, they make up a number that we call it as a nucleon number. Nucleon number is actually the sum of the protons and neutrons in an atom. So for example, we have got sodium. Its proton number is 11, while its nucleon number is 23. So whenever we write symbols like this, it's a symbol. The lower number, it represents the proton number, while this number, the bigger one, that represents the nucleon number, or you can say the mass number. We have got some other element. For example, we got oxygen. It has a proton number of 8 and nucleon number 16. Similarly, we can have many other elements, like we have aluminum. In aluminum, there are present 13 protons and there are 27 nucleon number. So with the help of the proton number and nucleon number, we can find out how many protons, neutrons are present in an atom. So let's do some practice of this. So let's see how to find subatomic particles in an atoms and in the ion. For example, we are given with an element X whose proton number is given to us, and the proton number is, let's say, 15. So with the help of periodic table, we can find that this element is phosphorus, because phosphorus is the only element that can have proton number of 15. So, you know, atoms and ions. Atoms, they have equal number of protons and electrons. If they are both equal, atom will be neutral and it will have no charge. While uh, in the ions, the protons and electrons, they are not equal. Either there are more electrons or there are less electrons than protons. If electrons are less than protons, we will have a positive ion, or it is the cation, and it is formed when atoms lose electrons. While if electrons they are more than protons, then we get the negative ions. It is produced by the gain of electron. So whenever you got a negative charge, it means in that ion you have more electrons. Fine, let's see that. For example, we have Na1 plus. Now, Na1 plus. 1 plus means that it has one less electrons. So sodium has a proton number of 11 and its nucleon number is 23. So we can find how many protons, neutrons and electrons are present in it. So protons, they are simply 11. Neutrons will be found by subtracting the 11 from 23, and that will be 12. While electrons, they are one less than protons. So protons are 11, so electrons will be 10. So let's take another example. Let's say we got Cl1 negative, and its nucleon number is given to us is 35, and proton number is 17. Now we can say 17 is simply the proton number, and neutron number is found subtracting 17 from 35, so it would be 18. While electrons, now it's -1 charge. -1 means that it has one more electron than proton. So the protons are 17, so electrons will be one more, that is 18. Now let's say we got P3 negative. P3 negative, its proton number is 15 while its nucleon number is 31. So how many protons it will have? The protons are simple, the lower number is 15. Neutrons are found by subtracting 15 from 31, that will be 16. While electrons, it's 3 negative. 3 negative, it means it has 3 more electrons than protons. So electrons will be 18. So in this way, we can find the electrons, protons and neutrons in the atoms and in the ions. Now let's solve some past paper questions. Look at this exam question in which they're asking that which ion has more electrons than protons and more protons than neutrons. The first condition is more electrons than protons. If it has more electrons, then it should carry a negative charge. So that means B cannot be the answer, because it has a positive charge, and it doesn't satisfy this condition that more electron than protons. Then we have to see more protons than neutrons. So in the first case we got this D, which has two nucleons and it has one proton. Okay, if you find more protons, it has one proton and it has one neutron, so they both are equal. Fine, let's see the next one. In oxygen we got 8 protons and deuterium has 1 proton. Oxygen got 16 and has got 2. So if you look at the neutrons present in it, there will be 8 neutrons present in the oxygen and 1 neutron present in the deuterium, and their protons are these, that is 8 plus 1, and neutrons are the same 8 plus 1. While the OH, it has got 8, 16, it has got 1 and 1. So it has protons, they are 8 plus 1, 9, while neutrons, they will be 8 from the oxygen and 0 from the H. So you can see in this case you have 9 protons and 8 neutrons. So the answer for this question is D, in which we have more electrons than protons and more protons than neutrons. So in this question we have got some ions and compounds. They're asking in which set do all species contain the same number of electrons. So if you have cobalt ions with different charges, it is it is understood that they will have different number of electrons, because it has 2 less electron than protons, 3 less electrons and 4 less electrons. They cannot be the same. In case of the B, we got the fluoride, bromide and chloride ions. Fluoride has 9 protons and it would have 10 electrons, and bromide, it would have, definitely it's lower in the periodic table in the next period, so that will have more electrons than the fluoride ions, so it's not the answer. C, in which we got sodium. Sodium has proton number of 11 and it has plus charge, 1 charge. It means it has 1 less electron, that means it has 10 electrons. While magnesium, it is proton number is 12 and 2 plus means it has 2 less electrons, that means it has 10 electrons again. Aluminium, it has 13 protons and 3 less electrons, means it has 10 electrons. So all of them, they have the same number of electrons, so C is the right answer. So let's see the next question, in which we got a radioactive decay of an isotope of lead to an isotope bismuth, and a particle this is released. So we got this particle is released. What particle is this? So you see in this particle the lower number is -1, so, and the upper number, that is the mass number, is 0. So mass number 0 is only possible for the electron, because neutron, protons, they have a mass of 1 and electrons also carry a charge of -1, so answer is A. It's not an ion because no positive or negative charge is mentioned. Next question. Which isotope of an element in the third period of periodic table contain the same number of neutrons as this? So let's see how many neutrons we have. It's 16 will be subtracted from 32, so we'll get 16 neutrons is present in this particle. So in sodium we have 23 minus 11 will give you 12 neutrons. Magnesium 24 minus 12, it again give you 12 neutrons. Silicon 28 minus 14, that will give you 14 neutrons, while phosphorus 31 minus 15, it gives us 16 neutrons. So that means the answer is D. So the next question, in which species are the number of electrons and neutrons are equal? So we have to find the electrons and neutrons. So let's see how many electrons do we have and neutrons we have in all these. Okay, so in beryllium you have 4 protons and there is no charge, which means it has 4 electrons. Okay, while neutrons, there'll be 9 minus 4, that is 5. In fluorine atom, the electrons are again 9 because there is no charge and protons are equal to electrons, and it would have neutrons, there'll be 19 minus 9 is 10. In sodium ion we have electrons, they are actually 1 less than protons, so there will be 10 electrons present, while neutrons, there will be 23 minus 11 is 12. In oxygen you will have 8 plus 2 electrons and they are total 10 electrons are present in it, while neutrons, they are 18 minus 8, they are also 10. So you see the electrons and neutrons, they are same in the O2 negative ion. So answer is D. So in the next question we have diagrams to show the possible path of subatomic particles moving in an electric field in the vacuum. So which diagrams are correct? So we are having electrons and they are bending towards a positive. So that's fine. Electrons, they carry negative charge and they bend towards positive. Neutrons, they have no charge, and they just are not deflected towards any of the plate. That is also fine. Protons, they carry positive charge, so they should not be deflected towards the positive. So this is a wrong diagram. So we have 1 and 2 only. So answer is A. So in the next question, we got P3 negative ion, and we have to find how many protons, neutrons, electrons are present in it. So it's clear from this ion that it has 15 protons. Okay, so answer can be either A or B. Neutrons, that 32 minus 15, that is 17. And electrons, it's 3 negative. 3 negative means it has 3 more electrons than protons. Protons are 15, 3 more electrons be 18, so answer is A. So the next question, we got hard water which contain the calcium ions and hydrogen carbonate ions, and arising from the dissolved calcium hydrogen carbonate. How many electrons are present in hydrogen carbonate anion? So first of all, looking at this formula, we can say that there are two hydrogen carbonate anions. They are attached with one calcium, and you know calcium is 2 plus ions. So it means the hydrogen carbonate anion, it will be HCO3 1 negative, to make this formula CaHCO3 twice. So we have got this formula HCO3 1 negative, and we have to find how many electrons are present in this ion. So hydrogen, you know, contain only one electron. So it's 1. Carbon contains 6. We can use data booklet. From the periodic table, we can find out their proton number, that is same like their electrons. Oxygen, it contain 8, but there are 3 atoms, so we'll make it times 3. And then there is negative 1 charge. That means you will add one more electron. So the total will be your answer. So, and that is 32. So answer is C. So the next question, we again have to use the data booklet, and we got two ions, the phosphide ion and the chloride ions, and we have to see which statements are correct about these two ions. The first statement says they have the same number of electrons. So phosphorus, if you look in the periodic table, you'll find its proton number is 15, and that of chloride, it's 17. So if you find the electrons in this one, it would be 15 plus 3, because there are 3 more electrons. So there will be 18 electrons present in over here, while it would contain 17 again, one more electron. So they have same number of electrons. Yes, it is right, because they both contain 18 electrons. They have same number of neutrons. So we can find their neutrons. It would be 31 minus 15. That would contain 16 neutrons present, while over here we have 13, 35 minus 17, so that would contain the 18 neutrons. So neutrons are not equal. And they have the same number of protons? Definitely they don't have, because 15 and 17 are different. So answer is 1 only. In the next question, we got an isotope technetium is radioactive and is found in lobsters and seaweed adjacent to the nuclear fuel reprocessing plants. So which statement about this atom is correct? Technetium. Okay, so it has 13 more neutrons than protons. First of all, we need to find the protons. If you look in the periodic table, you'll find that it contains 43. It contains 43 protons. So if you find their protons, neutrons and electrons, so protons are 43, neutrons are 99 minus 43, 56, and electrons, they'll be equal to the protons, that is 43. So will it have 13 more neutrons than protons? Yes, because 56 is 13 more than 43. So statement 1 is correct. Now it has 43 protons. Yes, that's also fine. Proton number is 43. It has 99 nucleons. Nucleon number, and this number represents the nucleon. That is also fine. So all three statements are correct. So this was an introduction to the atom, to the ions and their subatomic particles, electrons, protons, neutrons, and how to find the number of electrons, protons and neutrons in an atom or ions. Hope you have understood all this stuff, and we have solved some past paper question as well. So We will see some more stuff about the atom in the next video. Till then, goodbye.